Okay, moment of truth here now. Battery's on, everything's good. My dad's gonna turn it over, I'm gonna watch it. This should be it. So today's the day we're finally starting on the Porsche 944's timing belt, water pump, and everything else you're supposed to do every 3 to 4 years. This is gonna be a long video, so please bear with me if you do wanna follow along on everything we're doing here. Throughout this video, I'm gonna try my hardest to show you guys everything that we're doing on this, but please keep in mind that we are no professional mechanics, so I'm not gonna go ahead and say this is exactly how you do it, because as we go along, we're gonna be learning everything as well. Using the likes of our phone, books, and everything else, we're gonna have to figure this out as we go along. So before we go ahead and start the work on the car, we need to go ahead and get the parts. And to do that, I'm gonna be using 944 Online. 944 Online is literally the best all-in-one stop shop for anything on your 944 or other transaxle car. They make it super easy because everything is sorted out by which car you have. You just hover over which car you have, you just scroll down to the category you need, and then bam, all the parts that they have for your car in that category are gonna be right there. And if you're looking for something specific, you can just type it in the search bar and then put in which car you have and it'll come right up. So as I said, we're gonna need the timing belt, the water pump, the tools, and all the accessories. So I'm gonna have to make sure that I get every last bit.
Several days later.
See, I don't know what it's doing. I thought it might have been the reference sensor or the reference or the other one of those, because it does sound like a misfire. That's what I was saying. It just sounds like something's out of balance. Keep going a little further, right there. First things first, we're gonna get all of this stuff removed, which means draining the coolant, draining the oil, getting the airbox off, getting all the electronics here off, getting the timing belt cover off, and pretty much everything has to come out. So while he's working up here, I'm gonna go into the car, drain the oil, drain the coolant. I'm not keeping any of it because I gotta flush it and change it anyways.
I don't remember it being this hard to take off, but
And I noticed I'm leaking a bit of oil and power steering fluid and all other sorts of stuff. One of the things that we do that's a nice little tip is you take a sandwich bag, snack bag, whatever, put all of the bolts in it that's for one thing, and then you can take like a piece of paper or a marker, whatever, and label it. So that way, when you go to put everything back on, you know exactly what these bolts go to and you're not guessing.
lights too.
Oh God. It got in my mouth. One of the things we forgot to do before you take any of the belts off is go ahead and you got to lock your flywheel, and I do have the tools to do that, but we almost forgot to. We're about to start getting this stuff off, so lock your flywheel before you do anything. And the flywheel lock looks like this. It's like a little T-shaped thing. Pretty much just stick that in the flywheel and this will keep it nice and locked. Before you put the flywheel lock on too, you have to get the engine in top dead center, so that's what we're trying to figure out right now. You can't really see it on camera, but that hole is for the bell housing, and there's supposed to be like a little notch and the letters OT, and it's supposed to like indicate that you're top dead center. Working on this for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and this is the progress we have so far. Real shaky here, but there's the flywheel lock on there and the starter is removed. So next thing's next, we're gonna get the belts off. There's the water pump and the corrosion. Next thing you have to get are the tensioners here, these 2 bars that goes to like the AC compressor and then the power steering pump. Once you loosen those up, then you can get the belts off. These have to come off. Accessory belt and power steering belt are off. Next, we're gonna go ahead and try to remove the actual timing belt and balance shift belt. Timing belt is off now. Here's the new belt. We're just kind of comparing them side by side. Here's what it looks like up underneath there. Everything's kind of taken apart. Got a couple more pulleys to get off, and then we should be good to go to get the water pump. We were trying so hard to get this off because we didn't do it when we took the balance shift belt off.
Yep.
Nice.
Oil seal's probably leaking behind it.
We were doing everything possible only to realize that that's what this tool is for. 944 Online gave me this. So don't be like us and make sure you do what you're supposed to do. We figured this was a good stopping point for day 1 because we have stuff to do. So although this may be multiple days or even weeks,
Many months later.
this is gonna be one continuous timeline for you. And now that the water pump is off, there is what we're dealing with. You see the water pump like studs or whatever right there. Next, I'm gonna drain the oil completely, and then I gotta remove the oil filter, and then right behind it is the oil cooler, kind of what it sits on. So a couple of updates as well. We were planning on doing the oil cooler seal, but we've actually decided to hold off on that. And the reason being is because a lot of this stuff down here, including the exhaust manifold, has to come out of the car. And my oil cooler is not leaking. So we decided, hey, just leave it for now. It doesn't have a problem. We're just doing it since there is nothing here. Might as well go ahead and do it like while we're in there. But truthfully, this is not a while we're in there thing because you don't need any of this stuff out of the way. You just need this stuff out of the way here. So we thought this was just too much extra to do, so we're holding off. So for today, this is what I'm doing right here. It's this seal on this lower balance shaft. But in order to get to the ones behind it as well, I have to take this power steering pump out of the way, which means I have to take these off here. And then I have to take all these bolts out on this, and this whole thing's gonna come out. My goal is though, is to not have to fully take this off because I don't wanna have to drain the fluid. So I'm just gonna kind of swing it out of the way. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so the one thing I did forget to mention is way down in there, very similar to how you see right here, there's this woodruff key that holds this whole thing in. You're supposed to take this out before anything come off. I did this one yesterday. Remember to take the woodruff key out. This one I did not remember. Doesn't really matter that much. You can do it after the fact, you know, getting all the bolts out, but that's the only thing holding this in and it will not come out. Okay, so I was able to remove the woodruff key, and the way I did it was take like a little punch, tap on basically one side or the other. I was tapping on the inner side, tap on that side, and it kind of swoops up because it is like a half circle shape. And then you're able to like get your screwdriver or whatever else underneath and pry it out. So I've got the lower balance shaft cap removed. That's what it's supposed to look like. And then I've cleaned everything up. It's not perfect, but much better. So we're gonna replace the seals on the balance shaft and then the crankshaft, then put all this back on here. And then next would be probably putting the water pump back on. And then after that, starting to get certain things like a timing belt and things put back on. So I put some grease on there. You can see I put it around like the main circle there. I did put some on where the bolts go, but not a crazy amount. So I've got all of these parts here that were from the car, you know, the air box, the J-boot, the timing belt covers, got the old belts, a bunch of things for the crankshaft, all sorts of stuff, pulleys, everything. And this is kind of what we're dealing with here too. Got the water pump sitting here. We're getting ready to put that on. Got a whole box of parts here. Then we got a whole other box of parts over here. This is more of the timing belt stuff. And then like the oil cooler gasket that we just decided not to do for now. Oil here, using the Castrol again. And then I've got to buy coolant. Still don't have that, but I'm going to be buying that. If you're going to do this job yourself, make sure you give yourself a lot of time to have the car down. I've had this car down for like a month now. I think like the first week and a half, maybe 2 weeks was just because the car really was having problems. So I just let it sit. And then from there, once I got back from like Atlanta and stuff, that's when we started working on it. Then I had to go to Chicago, and now I'm about to go to Columbus, and then we're gonna work on it again. And then I'm gonna have to go down to Georgia, and we're working on it again. It's like a lot of back and forth, and I'm traveling a lot in between this. Hopefully this will be done by the end of June. It's been a little bit of time, but got the water pump on, got all the new hardware right here. You can see the old hardware in comparison. Much better on this side. Did a lot of stuff, took a little bit of time trying to get the thermostat in there. I did go ahead and boil it to make sure it works. It does, but that water pump looks so much better. I'm not gonna show you guys how to do the timing just because this is gonna be a lot for us to learn. There's a lot better videos out there on how to do the timing from somebody who actually knows what they're doing. Adretis has a really good one. I think NC 944 has one. So go look at theirs. I'll even link stuff like that in the description, how to do this. This is more of just me showing you guys me doing it. So the water pump does not have a specific sequence to torque it down to. The only thing they tell you to do is 6 pound-foot. You do 4 first, then 6. Gonna be using an inch pound or inch torque wrench instead because it's a little more accurate. Probably just gonna be doing a star pattern to be honest on this, but that one I'm gonna need an extension. So one of the things we forgot to do was put some thread lock on each of the water pump bolts. So we're gonna take each one out one at a time, put thread lock on, and then we'll torque it afterwards. All right, so we're getting ready to install the cover, but before I did that, I went ahead and cleaned the entire thing because there was a little bit of oil in here. So now it's nice and clean. Got the rear timing cover on now. Gonna go ahead and put the bolts on, and I gotta figure out where these work. Putting the crankshaft pulley on first. Here are the new rollers that we're gonna be replacing. I think there's two that we're not replacing. These are the only ones that came in the kit. And I know for a fact there was a lot more than just 4 rollers that came off of that car. So if you follow my Instagram or TikTok or on YouTube Shorts, you've seen it, you would know that I just got a set of workshop manuals for the 944, and this really comes in handy for this job because right here, it's gonna tell me exactly how to install these balance shaft gears, which is something I could not find online anywhere I looked. This is extremely helpful. It tells me how to torque them, how to install them, everything. And it's all in pictures, which is super easy for me. Being, you know, a younger person, I need pictures. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this lower balance shaft belt first, or sprocket, I mean. So we need to make sure that this woodruff key is facing directly up, and I need to make sure it's pounded in there first as well. So it tells you to put a specific type of grease just on the mating surface of this. I don't have that specific type of grease, so I'm literally just using some high temperature, I guess, bearing grease. Okay, so to install the lower balance shaft sprocket, this 0 right here on the bottom of the sprocket, you want that facing downwards, and then there's gonna be this little opening right here with this prong sticking out. You want that to sit right in there, basically opposite of the woodruff key. And then put a little bit of Loctite, not super permanent Loctite, on the bolt. Get it as tight as you can. Take your specialty tool here, insert it into here, and then torque it to 33 pound-feet or 45 Newton meters. And it helps if you have 2 people do this because this is really hard. Now for the upper one. All right, so for the upper balance shaft gear, after you get the grease on there, same procedure, except the little 0 right here is gonna face upwards with the woodruff key. Then you take this little indent right here, this little rectangle with the sprocket sticking out. You wanna put that on the opposite side of that O, just like so, that rhymes. And then it looks like that. So that little 0, O, whatever is sitting inside the circle instead of inside the rectangle there. And then same thing, tighten it down with the specialty tool to 33 foot-pounds. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put the timing belt idler on there. It goes right here on the water pump housing, and this is gonna be 33 foot-pounds. Does not say to use Loctite, so just go ahead and tighten it down. Okay, so I realized I made a couple mistakes the last time I was working on this. So the first mistake I made was this crankshaft pulley was not supposed to go on just yet. The timing belt actually has to get on this right here, but because of the way the cover's set up, you cannot get the timing belt in there while this is on there. So the timing belt is now on, and we're gonna show you how we're using the tensioner tool. You can kind of see, you just push down on it until it clicks. It's supposed to be right about 40, and we're getting right about 30, I guess. So we're gonna tension that up. Special tool here with this, and then it'll be good to go. So I didn't film very much of doing this, but all of the belts are now on, tensioned, and ready to go. They are set at the proper tension that they're supposed to be, at least I hope they are. We're gonna take the flywheel lock out, turn the engine over a couple times tomorrow, but for now, I'm just so happy that this is done. I still have to get coolant for the car. We still have to put the hoses on back, everything, but I'm so happy we've made it this far. So after turning the engine over twice, everything is good. I went ahead and put the block off on the water pump. Everything is pretty much back together at this point, and we're good to go. But for right now, I'm gonna go ahead, put the new oil in there. Gotta put the coolant in there.
So if you put about a half a gallon in it, let's put the top. Listen, stop. See,
Yep.
somewhere it's, oh, the thing's not on.
The plug.
Shit. Bruh. You're gonna lose all of it. Where's the plug?
I don't remember what I did with it. Okay, moment of truth here now. Battery's on, everything's good. My dad's gonna turn it over, I'm gonna watch it. This should be it. Yeah, do it one more time. Oh, there is coolant leaking.
Where?
On the hose connecting to the water pump. Do it again. Okay, give it a little bit. So right after we started it, I realized there was a couple problems here, so everything is back apart again to make sure that I clear up these problems before we go on the road. And you probably saw it on TikTok already, but if not, here it is. So basically, the tensioners for the balance shaft and the timing belt were both flipped. So basically, the timing belt one is supposed to turn counterclockwise to tighten it and clockwise to loosen it. For the balance shaft, it's the opposite. It's supposed to be clockwise to tighten it, counterclockwise to loosen it. I had them both flipped, so I had to fix those real quick. It was really easy fix. Didn't even have to take the belts off. I really just had to loosen everything up and then kind of re-rotate them back. A little difficult with the timing belt one just because it is further back there, but then retension everything. Everything is nice and tensioned again. Then the lower coolant hose for the radiator actually was in the way of the fan. So as soon as the fans kick on, I heard this really loud noise. I didn't know what it was because my dad was mowing grass at the time, so I thought it was him. So I waited about 10 seconds before I shut the car off. Then I shut the car off and I still hear it, and I come up here and I'm like, oh my God, there is rubber shooting all over the place. So the only way I could actually get it to stop was just disconnect the battery right away. Luckily, the wrench was sitting right on top of it. Just disconnect it real quick, shut off. But I gotta figure out why it's hitting. And my dad's not here to help me with any of this, so I had to do the whole redoing of everything here by myself, which is fine, but sometimes having a second person is good. He's able to check each other. And also if there's something where you need like 4 hands to do it, you can do it. So I don't know if you guys can really see it, but the fan right here it's hitting right there, and that's where it shredded it. And then you can also see it got so hot. It got so hot that the tip of the fan blades here actually melted. Every single one of them is like that. All right, so I didn't film much of getting everything back on, but pretty much just redid everything, fixed the mistakes we made, and everything's back on. So we're gonna go ahead and turn it over a little bit and then start it. So now for the moment of truth, I guess. Seems to be running good. I don't hear any weird noises, so. It's been running for a little bit. The balance shaft belt was originally just a tad too tight. It was making a little bit of a whining noise, but now it sounds good. So, gonna go ahead and finally get this thing off the ramps, fill it up with the oil the rest of the way, and coolant, just top it off more, but we're ready to go. Okay, so I just took it for a little bit of a drive around the block, and it is running pretty well. Now, there is a couple of things I need to fix. Just one thing really is the balance shaft belt, I believe, is still too tight, or it's the alternator belt, but I will worry about that tomorrow. For now, everything seems to be running so good. The timing belt, which is the most important thing, and the water pump, running really well. I still need to fill it with a little bit of coolant and maybe a little bit of oil still, but I'm so happy to have finally driven it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the timing belt and water pump service video. I know I'm not gonna show those other fixes on here just because that's really not a part of it. I know it's just many minor things, but you guys don't really need to worry about it. I'm telling you guys what I'm gonna do, just loosen some things up, fill the coolant, fill the oil, and that's it. Trying to put the camera in the tree, because this is a really cool shot. That's all I have here for you guys this week. I really hope you did enjoy this. Maybe learn a thing or two on doing the timing belt and water pump job on this car. But yeah, I appreciate everybody who helped me out with this, tips, tricks, everything. All the information was super helpful, but that's all I have here for you guys this week. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and comment. Also share it with your friends because it really helps out a lot. And also please click subscribe, because not a lot of you guys are subscribed, and it really helps out the channel. And it really helps me keep this car going tremendously. So I really appreciate you guys. But again, that's all I have here for you guys this week. So make sure you drive safe, and I love you guys.